Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm so happy to do this Karnataka SET practice with you. A lot of you are writing Karnataka SET, and I'm sure you'll find this practice very useful. This is day 2, and it is hello from me and Ankita.
Hi.
Right. So, dear friends, let us move on to look at the questions. How are you all, by the way? You should write in the comment section whatever you need more. Okay, we'll look into it. And also, you should like the video, share with your friends so that it will help us also. Right. We have today also papers 1 and 2. Hey, right at the beginning, I want to tell you one thing. Tamil Nadu UGTRB exam is coming up. And you know what? We are starting free quizzes in a Telegram group. After this live, I will post in the description of the video the link to the Telegram group. Please remember to join the group and do the quizzes. Okay, dear friends. So here goes the first question. Scenes of Clerical Life is a collection of 3 short stories. They were first published separately, but then they were published as one book, Scenes of Clerical Life. Do you know if it is Elizabeth Gaskell or Maria Edgeworth or George Eliot or Charlotte Bronte who wrote Scenes of Clerical Life? Scenes of Clerical Life. Clerical matlab clergyman's life, isn't it? It is about life in the Victorian period. Obviously, they're all Victorian writers. Do you know anybody, everyone? Ankita, what do you think is the answer?
It is George Eliot
Yes.
who wrote this.
The Scenes of Clerical Life the stories were first published in Blackwood's magazine. Did you know that? That was one of the famous magazines of the 19th century. And it was initially published anonymously. You see, Warwickshire, that is where George Eliot lived and wrote, and that is what she wrote about. She depicts Warwickshire and the, middle class society of Victorian England. And this is finally published in book form under the name George Eliot. The real name of George Eliot is, of course, Mary Ann Evans. So it is indeed George Eliot who wrote Scenes of Clerical Life. Very good, dear friends. Now let us move on to the next question. The Necessity of Atheism. It is one of the first pamphlets on atheism in English. In English language, one of the first pamphlets on atheism. And it is written by a poet. Do you know who is the poet? Is it John Keats, P.B. Shelley, Byron, or Wordsworth? This poet also advocated vegetarianism. And he wrote this along with Thomas J. Hogg, his friend. And you know what? They were expelled from Oxford University for writing this. Many great people were expelled from their universities. If this happened to any of us, our parents would beat us and never send to the university again. So, Ankita, tell us who wrote this Necessity of Atheism and got into trouble?
It was P.B. Shelley who wrote this pamphlet. Yeah.
Yes, P.B. Shelley, the ineffectual angel who who was beating his wings in the void in vain, said Matthew Arnold about Shelley. Right. And what is the posthumously published prose work by Shelley, Ankita?
It was Asolando.
Prose work.
Oh, The Triumph of Life.
That is a poem. Prose work is defense of poetry.
Yes.
No problem, no problem. I deliberately shocked you and confused you, I guess. It is a defense of poetry. Asolando, Fancies and Facts. It is written by Robert Browning. Right? And Triumph of Life is Shelley's last work, and it is a poem. Very good. No problem. Everybody makes mistakes. Now, choose the wrong statement among the following. अरे ये तो Lacan है. He is drawing a picture. Lacan is associated with the famous theory of the mirror image, mirror stage. He is called the French Freud. सही है या गलत? Right or wrong? On paranoid psychosis in its relations with the personality was the name of his doctoral thesis. Now, dear friends, you should understand one thing. They will ask a lot of unfamiliar things in the exam. A lot of unfamiliar things in the exam they will ask. And you know, they don't want you to know this. They only want you to know which is the wrong one. If you don't know on paranoid psychosis, that is not a problem. But totem and taboo is the magnum opus of Lacan. That is wrong. Who wrote Totem and Taboo, Ankita?
It's by Freud.
Sigmund Freud wrote Totem and Taboo. It is not by Lacan. That is wrong. In our NET exam also, there were many questions and they were asking which of the following is wrong. All the right sentences you don't know. They are all weird. But the wrong sentence is obviously wrong. Like that they give. Okay. Boris Eichenbaum contributed to Marxism, postmodernism, formalism, or modernism. Arey yaar, even more than the question, I'm worried about his glass going to fall. Look at his pince nez. It is going to fall, kind of. Boris Eichenbaum is a Russian formalist. He is a formalist. Isn't it? Very good. Now, Ankita, over to you.
Dash was the first published work by Leo Tolstoy. So which was it? War and Peace, Anna Karenina, Childhood, or Resurrection?
We'll give you a clue, guys. This book that was published in the mid-19th century was his autobiography. The first part of his autobiography. So what is it, Ankita?
It is Childhood. Yeah.
That's right. It is Childhood. Very good. War and Peace is a massive novel with a lot of characters. You had 5 questions about Anna Karenina in the exam. Some of these were very easy also. If you read your questions very carefully without getting stressed, very calmly, you will be able to get them right in the exam. That is how you should do in the exam, without getting stressed. All right. Great. Resurrection, by the way, is also by Tolstoy. Resurrection. Can you read this one as well, Ankita?
The Angry Young Men were a group of mostly working and middle-class British playwrights and novelists who became prominent in the 1950s. Who among the following was not a part of this movement? John Osborne, Kingsley Amis, William Golding, or Alan Sillitoe? Who was not an angry young man?
Who among the following was not an angry young man? Definitely John Osborne, Kingsley Amis, Alan Sillitoe are. William Golding is not. Ankita, among them, who wrote Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner?
Alan Sillitoe.
That's right, Alan Sillitoe. Who wrote Lucky Jim?
Kingsley Amis.
Kingsley Amis. Kingsley Amis's son is? Martin Amis.
Martin Amis.
Martin Amis. Among them, who wrote a play called Luther, based on
John
Martin
Osborne.
Luther? John Osborne. John Osborne also wrote Entertainer, Look Back in Anger. Does anybody know when Look Back in Anger was performed? 1956 at Royal Court Theatre. Very good. Now, which is the first work by William Golding?
Lord of the Flies.
That's right. Lord of the Flies is the first novel by William Golding. He followed it up with The Inheritors, Pincher Martin, Free Fall, The Spire, The Scorpion God. Then Darkness Visible. Before Scorpion God, one more is there. The
spire.
pyramid. The pyramid. The spire, the pyramid, scorpion god, darkness visible, then papermen. We have a code, and Vallath, in our classes, we say the code. That's why we never forget. If you join our net classes, you will get the code, okay? Otherwise, in YouTube also, I'll give some codes. Hey, UGTRB, free quizzes we are starting in a Telegram group. You should join us. Okay, all of these are true except what about Tristram Shandy? It was a masterpiece of Lawrence Sterne. वो तो सही है, correct है. It was published in 1759. I think it's correct. Corporal Trim is a character in this novel. सही है ना, Ankita?
Yes.
About this novel, Horace Walpole said, nothing odd will last. Tristram Shandy did not last. Was it Horace Walpole who said this, Ankita?
It was Samuel Johnson who had commented this.
Anada, Samuel Johnson is here, sitting, listening to you, Ankita. It is not Horace Walpole, but Samuel Johnson who said, nothing odd will last long. Tristram Shandy did not last. Ulysses, Order and Myth is an essay on the mythical method employed by James Joyce. Mythical method. Ankita, who wrote this essay? Please read the options and explain and tell us the answer.
Okay, so who wrote this essay? Ezra Pound, T.S. Eliot, Virginia Woolf, or D.H. Lawrence? Ulysses, Order and Myth, this essay was written by T.S. Eliot, where he explicates how this mythical method, where, this story of the Odysseus has been employed. I mean, that structure, the characters has been employed in Ulysses. And that's why this mythical method has been used here also in the novel Ulysses by James Joyce, and its significance, why it has been employed and how. He talks about those things in this essay, Ulysses, Order and Myth.
Ulysses, Order and Myth is a review of James Joyce's Ulysses. And this is where he famously says that all modernist writers should employ the mythical method. What is that? To give a shape and a significance to the immense panorama of futility and anarchy that is contemporary history. That is the quotation, very famous quotation from this essay. Will you remember that? Very good. Now, which among the following cannot be seen is in Thomas Kyd's The Spanish Tragedy? Is it romantic melodrama, madness as metaphor, farce, or play within play? What do you think, Ankita?
Okay, so romantic melodrama and madness as metaphor can be seen. We also see play within the play, Solomon and Persida. But farce cannot be seen in the Spanish tragedy. It's not there.
Ours is not there. Look at Bell Imperia and Geronimo. Yes. There is a ghost of Don Andrea right at the beginning, and he stays throughout the play. Right. Over to you, Ankita.
Christ's Hospital, 30 and 5 years ago, is an essay by whom? Charles Lamb, Hazlitt, Leigh Hunt, or Thomas De Quincey?
Ankita, there is a mistake in the title. Christ's Hospital, 5 and 30 years ago it is, na? Ore, I made a mistake. No problem. I can correct it now. Christ's Hospital, 5 and 30 years ago. Galti hogi mere se. No problem. It is Charles Lamb who wrote this. Ankita, what is this Christ's Hospital that he is remembering?
It was actually a school where he used to study with Coleridge also, and he became a good friend of Coleridge there. So he talks about his school days.
Christ's Hospital School. Correct.
Yeah.
Ankita, there is a poem by Coleridge dedicated to his schoolmate Charles Lamb. What is that? This lime tree bower my prison.
Yes. Huh.
It is dedicated to Charles Lamb.
Charles Lamb.
This lime tree bower my prison. It is one of the conversation poems. Right. How many conversation poems are there, by the way? 8.
8. Huh.
Can you read the question, please?
choose the wrong statement about post-structuralism. Post-structuralist theorists believe that language is the most important factor in shaping our conceptions about life, ourselves, our world, and literary texts. Post-structuralism suggests that everything, starting from our gender identity to the notion of the reality, all is in a constant state of flux. Post-structuralism negates the idea that the concept of national identity is a social construct. And lastly, post-structuralism posits truth is always relative rather than absolute.
Dear friends, the answer, the wrong statement is obviously there. Post-structuralism negates the idea that the concept of national identity is a social construct is wrong. Post-structuralism upholds the idea that the concept of national identity is a social construct. It does not negate it. Will you please read all this carefully and understand? Remember, in the exam, the wrong statement is mostly obviously there. Don't get stressed and miss it out. Dash by V.S. Naipaul won Booker Prize in 1979. Dear friends, this is a book which comprises 3 short stories actually. And one of them is the title of the book itself. Is it A House for Mr. Biswas, A Flag on the Island, In a Free State, or A Bend in the River? What do you think, Ankita?
It is In a Free State.
In a Free State won Booker Prize in 1971. It contains 3 short stories. Now, Shakespeare was the Homer, or father of our dramatic poets. Johnson was the Virgil. The problem, the pattern of elaborate writing. Problem nahi, pattern. Again, galti ho gayi. It is a typo. Sorry, guys. I should have proofread. Shakespeare was the Homer, or father of our dramatic poets. Johnson was the Virgil, the pattern of elaborate writing. I admire him, but I love Shakespeare. This is the opinion of whom? Is it Philip Sidney, Dryden, Wordsworth, or T.S. Eliot? It is Dryden in Of Dramatic Poesy. Remember, pattern of elaborate writing. Dryden said this. Don't forget, Of Dramatic Poesy came in the year 1668. Isn't it, Ankita?
Yes.
Which is the essay, critical essay that came in 1700? Dryden's Preface to the
Fables.
Preface to the Fables. Very good. Preface to the Fables. That is where he praises Chaucer's characters. Dryden praises Chaucer's characters in Preface to the Fables. 1668, the year of dramatic poesy, was the year in which he became poet laureate. Hey, Ankita, who are the 4 characters speaking in of dramatic poesy? First is Crites. Then
Lycidius. Then
no,
Eugenius. Lycidius and Neander.
Correct. Crites, Eugenius, Lycidius, and Neander. Crites, Eugenius, Lycidius, and Neander. The Family Reunion is a play by Dash in blank verse, which incorporates elements from Greek drama. Listen, everybody, even though some of our answers are very simple, there is a lot of information in the question itself. We don't want to stress you out at 9:30 by asking you tough questions. But in the question itself, we are giving you information. So the Family Reunion is a play by Dash in blank verse, and it incorporates elements of Greek drama as well as mid-20th century detective plays to portray the hero's journey from guilt to redemption. That is the theme. Is it by Christopher Isherwood, N.F. Simpson, T.S. Eliot, or John Mortimer? These are all contemporary playwrights. Ankita?
It's by T.S. Eliot, The Family Reunion.
Yeah, it is one of his poetic plays. Very good. Can you name the other poetic plays, Ankita?
The Confidential Clerk, Murder in the Cathedral, then The Elder Statesman.
One more, the cocktail party.
The cocktail party.
Yes. Please, can you read?
The term subaltern was conceived by Dash when he was in prison, and his writings, subject to censorship, used it as a code word for any class of people, but especially peasants and workers, subject to the hegemony of another more powerful class. So, who conceived the term subaltern? Homi Bhabha, Partha Chatterjee, Antonio Gramsci, or Dipesh Chakraborty?
All of us know it is Antonio Gramsci who, in his prison notebooks, talked about subaltern. He also talked about the concept of hegemony, organic intellectual, and he was imprisoned by Mussolini government in Italy. And Gramsci became a very important figure in Marxism. This is Antonio Gramsci. Choose the wrongly matched pair. Aspects of the novel. Is it E.M. Foster? Yes, the picture says correctly. The Craft of Fiction. Is it by Henry James? No, it is by Henry James's friend, Percy Lubbock. The Rhetoric of Fiction is by Wayne C. Booth. The Well-Wrought Urn is by Cleanth Brooks. Will you remember all this? Okay, Ankita, question to you. Which of these writers talked about panoramic novels and scenic novels?
Percy Lubbock.
Very good. Which of these writers talked about implied author?
Wayne C. Booth.
Correct. Which of these writers talked about the pattern of hourglass novel?
E.M. Foster.
E.M. Foster is correct. Which of these writers talked about intentional and affective fallacy?
Uh,
No, that is Wimsatt. Sorry.
Yes.
Wimsatt is not there. Wimsatt is not there. Only Clean Brooks is there. I did not look at the name. I just made up the question. Okay. Well-Wrought Urn by Clean Brooks contains an essay on paradox and an essay on irony. Who is Dante's guide in his journey through hell in Inferno? It is, everybody knows, Virgil. Hey, Ankita, what is the first ring of the underground well Inferno called?
Limbo.
Limbo is correct. And ye bolo, Ankita. Which book by Chaucer is supposed to be a parody of Divine Comedy?
The House of Fame.
That's right, the House of Fame. Can you read this, please?
Familiar Letters is a collection of letters written by Dash. Who wrote it? Ovid, Petrarch, Boccaccio, or none of the above?
Familiar Letter is by Petrarch. Petrarch. Down and out in Paris and London. Somebody lived like this, very poor, and wrote about it. Memoirs. Is it Anthony Burgess, John Wayne, George Orwell, or Kingsley Amis? Down and out in Paris and London. I'll give you a clue. He was born in Bihar. It is who, Ankita?
It is George Orwell.
Down and out in Paris and London. Which is the novel that he wrote about his life in Burma?
Burmese Days.
Burmese Days, correct. The Chameleon, oh my God, got a shock, is a short story by, is it Thomas Mann, Anton Chekhov, Nikolai Gogol, or Victor Hugo? What do you think, Ankita? Chameleon.
It is by Anton Chekhov.
Anton Chekhov. Hey, Ankita, what do you say for chameleon in Bengali?
I don't know the Bengali word. Girgiti. Girgiti.
Girgiti. Yeah. Wow, Girgiti. I got it. In Malayalam, we say ond. Say
Und.
Ond.
Und.
Such a funny name. Okay. Anton Chekhov wrote plays also. Do you know any play, Ankita?
The Cherry Orchard, The Seagulls, Two Sisters.
Three.
Three. Then
Uncle Vanya.
Uncle Vanya. He also wrote a play now where a guy is proposing and they're fighting.
The bear.
Ha, 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 ha.
The bear. Who among the following thought of Wuthering Heights as a kind of sport? Is it D.H. Lawrence, F.R. Lewis, I.A. Richards, or Raymond Williams? Maybe it is F.R. Lewis. Do you think, Ankita?
Yes, F.R. Lewis in the Great Tradition talked about Wuthering Heights as a kind of sport.
Oh, F.R. Lewis. He talked about so many novels. Do you know who are the people of the Great Tradition?
Yeah, he talked about Henry James, Joseph Conrad,
George Eliot.
George Eliot, yes.
Jane Austen.
Jane Austen. He didn't really talk about Jane Austen because he said if you want to talk about Jane Austen, you need a much more lengthy book. So he just talked about Jane Austen in bits and pieces. Yeah.
Right. Vidya Lakshmi. Who's that, your friend? Eh? Oh, it's a web portal. Did you know that, guys? Launched by the government for the benefit of students seeking Vidya or Lakshmi. Vidya or Lakshmi. So, क्या होगा? Higher education, teacher education, educational loans, I would have, or scholarships. It must be educational loan or scholarship. Hai na, Ankita?
Yes, it is educational loans.
Vidya or Lakshmi.
Huh.
Oh, good. Which is the agency of the central government that disseminates information regarding government policies and projects to the media. Media. I know. Do you know YouTubers? I know it is Press Information Bureau. Or is it Press Trust of India? PIB, PTI. PIB, PTI.
PIB.
Is it PIB? Okay. Ankita, you read. I'm scared. You read.
Project Tiger was launched in the year dash 1983, 1993, 1973 or 2000.
2000 तो नहीं है, बहुत पुराना है Project Tiger. Oldest year 1973. Is that right?
Yes.
I just guessed. 1st April 1973. Amazing questions. I love them. The first virtual University of India, PYQ, came up in which place? या तो बहुत तमिल लिखा है. Nalagam. Something like that.
Yeah. In top of the picture, actually, the answer is given at the very top.
Tamil. Sinai. I don't know how to read. Let us change it. We'll see here. Tamil Virtual Academy.
Yeah.
First virtual university. Okay. The first ever FM services were started in India on FM. FM must have come very recently. You think so?
It came in 1977.
Really?
Yeah.
जब मैं विविध भारती सुन रही थी तब FM था क्या? Ayyo, I didn't know. July 23, 1977. I was a choti si bachchi. 2 years old I was. Will you remember? Okay, good. So that brings us to the end of this discussion. I hope you enjoyed. Have no stress at all. Bindas, you should just take it easy and you should relax and enjoy and study and you will do well. We will be back with more. Bye-bye.